welcome. Happy, what is it? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, it's Wednesday. Hey, y'all. Happy Wednesday to everyone. I know that a lot of people are probably out or just getting in from work. Hello. How are you? Hope you had a great holiday last week with you and your family. We are here to discuss the wrap up of the third annual Caregiver Summit. And it's not just me. I have some friends with me tonight. First up, I'm going to talk to Miss Shamanica. Hey, Shamanica.
Hey, Sharonda. Hey, everyone.
We got Shamanica on board, and we also have our intern, Kiara. Hey, Kiara.
Hey y'all, hope everybody's having a good night.
Thank you for joining us, Kiara. And we have the one and the only El Cal. Hey,
Hi,
El.
everybody.
Thank you guys for joining us. Hey, Brenda, I see you in the chat. You already know. Don't be leaving me on mute or not talking back to me. If you are here, please talk back to me. Now, one of the first things that we're going to do on this particular live is we're going to wrap up the Caregiver Summit. Now, Brenda, let me know if you are camera ready because we would love to have you on and come talk to us. But if not, we understand. I like to put the people on the spot. I'd be like, yes, come talk to me. But I just want to talk a little bit about the Caregiver Summit before we begin, there is a contest that is going on right now. And so if you put in the chat, hashtag Caregivers Rock, you will be entered into the randomizer for this evening. So make sure that you guys are doing that. And it is hashtag Caregivers with an S Rock. If you put that in the chat, you will be added to the randomizer tonight. Hey, Kimberly, how are you? Hey, Miss Kim. So if you put that in the chat, you will be entered into a randomizer for the end of this live. So let's get right into it. First of all, y'all, let me have them kind of introduce who they are, what they do, and what organization they are with. Shamanica, tell everybody already know you, but anyway, tell the people that don't know who you are, and what you do.
Hey, so I'm Shamanica Wiggins Mays. As Sharonda said, most of you all should know me, but if not, hi, I am the social media manager for the Sickle Cell Consortium. And yeah, that's me. Hey, everyone.
Hey, Shamanica. And what about you, Miss Kiara?
Hi y'all, I am Kiera Kofer. I am the social media intern for the Sickle Cell Consortium.
Yay! I love it. I love my team. They rock. And then we have, again, one and only, Elko. Elko, talk to us about who you are and what company you are with.
Yes.
Or
Hi,
company.
everybody. So I am Elle Cole. I am with Cleverly Changing LLC. That is my company. And I was able to partner with the Sickle Cell Community Consortium. I am a caregiver. I have a 15-year-old. I had to think about that for a second.
Girl.
But I have a 15-year-old with Sickle Cell SS. And yeah, I do many things. I'm an author. And I also I'm a podcaster. So those are just two of the things out of many that I do, but I'm happy to be here with you guys talking about the Caregiver Summit, which is near and dear to my heart.
Yes. So before we even get into the thank yous and the recap, can you tell us a little bit about why you wanted to do the Caregiver Summit? Like, what was the why behind all of this?
Absolutely. So it was back in 2008 when I found out my daughter had sickle cell disease that I realized in order to navigate this whole chronic illness, you really need a support system. And I was living in a state where I didn't have any family members. And, I had a husband, but the way men navigate these things and the way women navigate them are a little bit different. I needed a core group of people that I could trust and that I could learn from and learn with, and just people that I wanted to spend time with. At the time, I didn't know how that would come, but I wasn't really a social media person. So when I became a mom, I wasn't on social media at all. But I quickly started to find my people on social media, and I created some accounts, and I really just started to navigate this world and social media in a way that I was able to share my experiences. Then a new platform opened up on Clubhouse. It sounds like ancient talk now because Clubhouse really isn't on and popping like it once was. But in 2020, it was the spot. And it was before it was open up to everybody. So it was exclusive. And I went on there because I thought it would be great for me as an entrepreneur to meet new people, network. But what I found, and I had no idea that that was where I would find other caregivers. But what I found were sickle cell caregivers. Because when I would introduce myself in a room and give my elevator pitch, I would say, I'm an author of sickle cell children's books. And then people would contact me. They would start following me. They would start connecting with me. And I started to go into different rooms and talk about sickle cell. And one room in particular, I started to meet dads. Now, on no other platform had I met dads interested in talking about their experience with sickle cell disease other than Clubhouse. It was very unique. And it was really a time for me to bring my husband on and say, hey, these dads want to talk about it. I'm not a dad. Can you, sit in and help me? And so my husband did that a couple of times. And it was the first time he had ever really talked openly and publicly about his experience. And so the dads told me they wanted to have this on a larger platform. And so Dr. Bailey, the Sickle Cell Community Consortium, they're always open to new ideas. And I said, hey, this is what I want to do. I said it to Dr. Bailey, and she said, well, if you want to do it, I'm here to help you. And together, we have all put in the time. And this was our third year. So that one little thought, that one little gesture, and that sort of experience. So social media can be many things for many people, but it has been positive in my life and in my experiences. And that's really how the Caregiver Summit was born.
Oh, and I love that, because when you said you met a room full of men or men that wanted to be involved, that is a really big thing, because as we know, especially as warriors, when we go into these events, it is predominantly women. So to have so many men want to talk about it, want to say, hey, I'm here, let's have a conversation, is really good. So I'm glad that you said, this is what we want to do. And I'm glad that we were able to partner together to make it happen. And like she said, y'all, this is the third year. Woohoo! And it's a wrap. We did it. It's over. It was great. So I definitely want to say thank you to everyone that was there. And so the sponsors, let me see, my Vanna White moment. Our sponsors over here. Thank you to all of our sponsors who sponsored and supported this event and has continued to support. You would think that, it's all about the warriors because it has been for so long, but the caregivers, you guys, they have supported y'all. They supported the consortium. So thank you to our title sponsor, Vertex, our platinum sponsor, Pfizer, Bluebird, which is our silver sponsor, Kiesi, Blue Beam, Fulcrum, Eddie Tosby, The Match. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring and being a part of this amazing event. And we have a video that we just want to say thank you to all of our sponsors. And here we go.
Thank you, Vertex, for sponsoring the third annual Caregiver Summit.
Thank you, Pfizer, for being the platinum sponsor for the third annual Sickle Cell Caregiver Summit.
Thank you, Bluebird Bio, for sponsoring the third annual Caregiver Summit.
Thank you, Vertex, for being the title sponsor for the third annual Caregiver Summit.
On behalf of the Sickle Cell Community Consortium and the parents and caregivers of the Caregiver Summit, I would like to give a thank you to Pfizer for supporting the third annual Sickle Cell Caregiver Summit.
Thank you, Vertex, for sponsoring the 3rd Annual Caregiver Summit.
Thank you, Vertex, for being the title sponsor for the 3rd Annual Caregiver Summit.
On behalf of the sickle cell community, thank you to all of the sponsors of the 3rd Annual Caregiver Summit.
Yay! Thank you to everyone. I love all of the thank yous. And we played them all during the Caregiver Summit just because, and a lot of our sponsors are like, oh, we didn't ask for that. And it's just because we are so grateful for the support that you guys have given us. And we really, really appreciate you and all of your time. So thank you to all of our sponsors. All right. Yes, Garrett Kimberly said it was fantastic. Oh, wait. I pull up the wrong one, Joe. I'm sorry. Kimberly said it was really fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed the summit. I'm amazed at how much I still am learning. I know, girl, let me tell you something. It is amazing how much we learned. And so I'm going to get into it right now. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the sessions during the summit. So this is a wrap up. So we're just kind of discussing what happened there. We had the day one, which was our pre-con. And it was with Progress. And my goodness, this was a program or a project that we're working on right now where people are coming in, caregivers and warriors coming in to just kind of tell their stories and their ideas on what in the world it is that we need to have as a standard in this community. Shamanka, I know you were part of Progress. How did you feel about Progress, or what was your take on it?
I think Progress is really nice, and I think what I really liked the most about it is that it gave, as you said, warriors and caregivers a chance to participate in a study, because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's a study gathering information on warriors and the way we view things, and it was great. I feel that including myself and the other participants, it was an opportunity to feel heard.
Ooh.
And Dr. Lawrence and the other doctor, oh my goodness, I can't remember her name.
Alicia Gamble, Dr. Gamble.
Yes, they did a great job explaining everything and getting us through it. And I love how technology was included with the little sticky note thing.
Oh,
so so although it was virtual, it was very engaging. And I could tell just based on the conversations that everybody really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really to emphasize the importance of patient-reported outcomes. So it was really cool to have both caregivers and warriors in the same room talking about, one thing where they can actually talk about whether, what is needed in this community, what is the outcomes that we want here, and how do we want them to be given to us, basically? Like, how do we want to retain the information, or how do we want to make sure that, these hospitals are taking care of our warriors. I mean, our caregivers, not our caregivers, of us warriors in this. Girl, we talking about Caregiver Summit, but us warriors, how we want to be taken care of. And I think having both of us in the room was a plus. So shout out to Dr. Lawrence and Dr. Gamble and Dr. Bailey, because they are all scientists in this space. Like,
and like you said, just having us all in the room, and that we realized that it was things that was listed that warriors felt shouldn't have been listed or should be added. So it was a great insight into the mind of warriors and caregivers.
Yep. Somebody asked about a survey. She said, perhaps I missed it, but is there a survey that we can complete? Absolutely. So you guys got to thank you, right? And Sharonda forgot to attach the survey. So guess what? You get a survey tomorrow. You get a survey, you get a survey, you get a survey. Everybody gets a survey. And the importance of this survey. Elle, talk about the survey and what we're trying to gather, the information we're trying to gather with it.
Absolutely. So we do these events every year, and we don't always get to hear what the most important sessions are to you, but this is all about you. It is not what we want, it's what you want and what you need. And so when you fill out the survey, we definitely want to hear what we did well, what didn't go so well, what you would like to see more of, what you want for future sessions. So we're crafting a space and a spot for you to get what you need.
Yeah.
And to feel heard, to feel valued and appreciated, because we do value you. We wouldn't have this without you. And so it is an opportunity for you to do that. And I'm going to just put the survey link in the chat while Sharonda and Shamanika are talking. So you'll have an opportunity to get started.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elle. And you, if you don't get it today, you definitely will be able to get that survey in your Hoover app. It's going to be there, just like I gave you a thank you for attending. You're going to get a thank you for completing the survey. So, and surveys are super important, like Elle said, because of the fact that this is not just for us, it's for the community. We always want to hear what your thoughts are, and what kind of sessions do you want to hear about? Like, maybe there are some things that we didn't touch on this time. It's always, we can touch on it the next go round. So make sure you're completing that survey. And yes, can children complete this survey? I know my nephews who are teenagers, they will want to complete a survey as well. Don't let these kids, listen, these kids know more than we think they know. They can do more than we think they can do. So yes, your children can fill out a survey as well. So ask them about the sessions and what sessions do they want to have, because as caregivers, they got a voice and we want to hear them as well. All right. Dr. Gamble and staff were very engaging. Please. Oh, yes, Dr. Gamble. Let me tell you, honey, I love Dr. Gamble. Yes, she will be back. So that was the first part one of the convening. There is a part two. So those of you that were a part of Progress, you will be hearing from them. They will give you some results and they will be talking to you again after this. So be aware of that. Now, for those of you that just came in, we do have a little contest going on. So in the chat, I need you to put #caregivers rock. And so when you do that, that is going to get you an entry into our giveaway in the evening at the end of this live. So yes, please do that. Now we're going to move on just a little bit, because I do want to talk about, the recap of the event itself. Y'all, day one, the open ceremony was great. Woohoo! We were super excited. Thank you, Vertex, for coming in and speaking. But day two, the welcome, bruh, Mama Doris came and gave the people some nuggets. She went in. I mean, people was in the chat talking about they crying. I was like, listen, I'm not gonna do it because I need these lashes for the rest of this event. So I'm not gonna be crying up in here. But it's her talk and her motivational speech, I'm gonna say that, was so good. And Shamanika, I know that you as a journalist got a little bit, information from that session. Can you kind of tell me how that went? Like, what was your take on the welcome ceremony with I would say Dr. Mother Bailey, but Miss Doris?
Yeah, so I know that.
Girl, you better leave Ray alone. Go ahead.
Y'all, he been chilling all this time, and now that I'm talking, but no. So I know that Mother Doris, her opening statement was well received by everyone there. My mom stated that was her favorite part, other than Dr. Azar. Mama Doris' statement, I guess my mom could just really relate to it. Yeah. But during her opening statement, Mama Doris made sure to shout out caregivers and to let them know that, like, their voices were heard, their cry for help was heard. And that's why the consortium answered with the Caregiver Summit. As usual, she praised Elle for being the caregiver who has taken the charge of this amazing event, and credits her for it being the event that it is, and organizing and getting the other caregivers together. As Mama Doris was talking, the screen was just pouring down with love reactions and heart reactions. And you could just, although it was virtual, you could just feel the positive energy. She shared that, it was hard and lonely for her as a young mom, raising Dr. Bailey, raising Lakia. And that loneliness is what made her learn all that she could about sickle cell. And she also credited a doctor by the name of Dr. Simpson for telling her that Lakia will grow up, and do not allow her to think sickle cell will keep her from living life. And obviously, as we can see, Mama Doris listened to that and she said she never told Lakia that she couldn't do something, that she could do it and she can do it better than others. And that's why we have the amazing Dr. Bailey we have today, because she has such a strong caregiver behind her. Not only is Mama Doris smart and educated, she has a strong faith as well. And so those prayers are not only keeping Lakia going, but it's keeping a lot of us on staff and in the community going. And she also, she personally thanked each and every sponsor and everyone for attending. And she just wanted caregivers and people with sickle cell to know that the consortium is there for them. And for her personally, she said, do not be afraid to reach out to her to help for help. She said, I'm just a call, email, or message away. So she is here for the community, just like the consortium is here for the community. And Mama Doris, we love you, and we are all praying for you now. So yeah, that was about it. It was amazing. I love Mother Doris. I got to get to know her even better during our staff retreat, and it made me happy that she was able to share some of her love with the attendees at the Caregiver Summit.
I mean, we're giving hand claps. We're giving hand claps all the way around, because absolutely she is so amazing. And that session was really, really good. So thank you so much for that, Shamanika. And yeah, so Shamanika and Kiara, y'all, they were behind the scenes, like getting a lot of clips in. And y'all know the Rolling with Kiara is a thing now. So she does her little recap. We love it. But thank you so much, Shamanika, for sharing that, because that was a really powerful welcome. And I know, Elle, you came in as well and you did some of the welcome on that day. Like, what was the feeling that you had knowing that, oh my goodness, Mama Doris had just spoken, like the people in tears? Like, what was the feeling for you as a caregiver?
Well, I was just touched because she shared her journey, and it wasn't easy. So for me, it was like hearing her talk about her experience and the difficulties and challenges that she faced. We see her on the other side of that.
Yes.
So for me, it was like, no matter how hard this gets, even if you may not have the support you need, even if you may have to really advocate for your kid because the doctors and the staff aren't doing what they're supposed to, there is another side.
Yeah.
There is a side where you can look back at it and your kid is an adult and doing well and thriving. And so for me, it was like that encouragement and hope. She was the embodiment of that hope. So I know for many of us, we don't have a child as old as Dr. Bailey. And so we're trying to get to where Mrs. Doris is. And so it was just very hopeful. Of course, I didn't want to have to, speak after that, because I think we were all just like, wow, because Mrs. Doris doesn't say a whole lot.
Exactly.
But when she does, it's always genuine and heartfelt. And she's truly an inspiration. And so I love that she had an opportunity to share what was on her heart. And she did just that. And we all received it with love. And it was what we needed. We didn't know we needed it, but it was what we needed.
Listen, and as a warrior, it was like, oh my God. Listen, I was about to text my sister and be like, I love you. I love you. It made you really want to, just kind of embrace your caregiver and be like, yo, listen, thank you. That's all I got to say, because I text my sister, I was like, girl, I love you. That's it. That's all I got to say. And that was that moment. That moment was like really good. So I'm with you, Shamanika. Your mom, I know she said that this was one of the most, one of her favorite sessions. And I think it was mine as well. So thank you, Mama Doris, for all that you share. But Elle, you had a great inspirational moment there as well, because you always, every time you come in to speak, you are always inspiring people and encouraging people to be their true selves. And so I do want to recognize that even during the welcome, even though it was after Mama Doris, you really came in and kind of inspired the people and kind of walked us through why this conference was so important. And I think that's always in order. So we thank you and we give you your flowers as well for that opening. opening statement.
I think Elle's opening statement was like the perfect segue from Mother Doris's because Elle's voice is so calming and soothing. It was soothing after getting emotional to have your presence, your energy to come and like reel us back in and remind us of why we were doing this event specifically. Yeah. So I think it was the perfect balance and it got us rolling right into the show. So
I agree.
Thank you, Elle. Thank you.
Thank you, Elle. And y'all, so that was the opening. That's just the opening. So we are definitely not going to get through everything today. But I do want to talk about the session with Dr. Azar. Hold on. That's a pause all in itself. He gave us all the things. Like, oh my goodness, this is his second time coming to the Caregiver Summit. I had never heard of him before. Let's just be clear. But after he spoke, me and Dr. Bailey was texting. We was like, so convention? Yup, is. Let's go. Like, he was so passionate. And my sister, before I got on live, she was like, okay, y'all need to talk about Dr. Azar because his passion, his compassion, and she said something else. I can't remember the other thing she said, but she was on fire about him and she was sending me messages. She was like, yes, this is what we need. We need all doctors to be like this. I was like, well, you know, we're striving. But he was really good. So I'm going to throw it over to you, Elle, because you are one of the ones that invited him. You know him. And I know Elsa, she is really close to him. And so I wish she was on here to kind of talk about who he is to her. But oh my goodness, where you find him at? Like what?
So this goes back to the Clubhouse moment.
Oh, girl.
That's how I met Elsa. I met Elsa on Clubhouse. And, you know, we had a connection, a caregiver connection. I told her I tell everybody about the Sickle Cell Community Consortium. I'm like, you want to get involved, this is how you do it. You know, definitely connect with them, become a partner. And she became a partner. And she is the one who introduced us to Dr. Azar. And he has always been very supportive. I mean, what I love, so what people don't know, I actually have a degree in history. I have a degree in history and in English. I mean, I'm an educator at heart. You know, that's what I do. And so Dr. Azar, he takes us back to the history of things. And so there's like this kindred connection because you don't know where you are going unless you study where you've been. And when we look at sickle cell, so like my second book, which is the activity book, it starts with a timeline because I am very adamant about teaching this next generation. Look, it's been over 100 years of this research and we are not where we should be.
Yes,
and so Dr. Azar, he did it without mincing words. I like to make it, you know, I paint this picture and I do it with a smile and in a, you know, a comforting way. Dr. Azar, he just lays it out there in a way that is real, that wakes you up. So everybody's not into history, but when Dr. Azar tells you, it's like, what? It really went down like this? So it was fantastic. And I knew because he also spoke last year. And I was like, he didn't even have enough time because so when you look at our conference, sometimes we have these breakout rooms where we have several sessions going on at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
And before he was in one of those sessions and I was like, no, we need to have him where he's all by himself. Everybody's able to listen to him. So he was our keynote this time. And he, you know, to be very honest with you, sometimes it can be hard getting speakers. And he was like, absolutely. And so that's the type of passion and desire that you want in a speaker who's like, of course I will, you know.
Exactly.
And so he delivered 100%. I knew he would. And I really wish there were more doctors like him.
Yeah, he was great. People are putting in the chat, Dr. Zai was the real deal. He really, really was.
He had a lot of mic drop moments. Like,
that's
but it just kept happening. It just kept happening.
Yeah, he was so good that like I'm literally trying to figure out where we put him at the convention, because he's the thing, like he really is. And I know when Kiara, when you did the rolling in a recap with Kiara, I saw him again on there, and I was like, oh my God, it reminded me, because when we have doctors like that that's willing to educate and want to be a part, we got to utilize them. And I think he is one of those doctors that we need for this moment in time. And like you were saying, El, he's a history buff, and he tells you about the history, but he does it in a way that it's like, oh my God, I didn't know that. I want to know more. And even the kids were listening to him. He was that good that the kids were like, I took a video of Evan. He was just sitting there like, I didn't know this type thing. And like I said, kids, the next generation, I'm gonna stop calling them kids, but next generation, they are so smart and they're so into, what's going on. And I wish that there was a lot more people in there, because it was a lot of people in there, but I wish like the entire sickle cell community could just hear him all at once, because the energy that he gave, and after hearing him speak, you could tell people were riled up and ready to do something about the healthcare system, about do anything that they can do to make things better for their warrior. You had warriors getting ready, just like, oh my God, I need to do better. So it was a really eye-opening moment, and I'm so thankful that he is a part of this community and sharing the things that we can do to do better as well. So anyway, we could talk about him all day, but we won't. So I'm going to move on real quick and talk about a little bit about y'all favorites. What was your favorite part of the entire event?
So before we do that, I just wanted to say one thing that I wanted to bring up about Dr. Azar is that what he was speaking about was on our theme. And our theme was guiding caregivers toward a life of patience, awareness, and community. And so the way he laid out his session just really brought home that whole theme and how everything fits together. And so, we don't always lead with, well, this was the theme, but that's really what his keynote did. And so I love that it was kind of the glue that connected all the sessions together.
All the parts, yeah. Yeah, he really did. To be honest, when you say keynote, he did a keynote. He made sure he incorporated everything that we were going to talk about in that one session. So I think you're right. He was that glue for it. So y'all, how are y'all going to hear this again? Well, the SC Warrior Network. Shamanika, I already put it in the chat. So we just uploaded the some information on the Warrior Network today, and there will be something uploaded all of December of the Caregiver Summit. So as it's being uploaded, you'll get a notification, but you won't get a notification unless you have signed up for the SC Warrior Network. So it is in the chat. So please make sure you guys are signing up and a part of that, because that's where you will find the information. Yes, 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 yes. I see the message. I had to say yes out loud. But yes, the SC Warrior Network is where you will get the videos. I saw somebody in the chat asking about how can they get a copy of his session. So that's where you're going to get that. Now, as far as the presentations, we are still working on to make sure that all of our speakers have allowed for the presentations, but the actual sessions will be on the Warrior Network. And Shamanika has put it in the chat. Whew, okay, so y'all, let's talk about Dr. Titi Fasipe. Was anybody in that session? Like,
yes.
Oh my goodness. Listen, I love Dr. Titi. Dr. Titi would come to you and break down the things and break all the things. Elle, talk about it.
It was great. Dr. TT, she makes everything so clear. Yes. And so what she talked about sickle cell organ health, lung health, and the cold season. What are we in right now? We are in the cold season. So, many of our warriors, unfortunately, when the weather starts to change, we know, because our community, they're like, I'm not feeling well. Sometimes people go into crisis. And so it can be difficult navigating the change of seasons. And so Dr. Titi, she took a lot of questions. She answered a lot from the audience and really just helped us understand, what we need to encourage our loved ones to do to ensure that they're, looking after their lung health, they're, following up with their doctors. And so I think, like, if you were wondering what type of questions you should bring to your doctor, she definitely laid a foundation of what type of questions we should be asking, and really how, some regular care that needs to be done on a regular basis and how to go about doing that. So I thought it was great.
Yeah, she did really good. And people kept asking questions and more questions. And I was like, ooh, I hate to cut this off, but we got to go. So I will say, if you were at the conference, right, and if you still have questions, make sure you go to the session and you can still put questions in the chat. Some of the doctors and the speakers are going back and they're answering. Y'all, I got a message like early in the morning where somebody was answering some questions. I was like, they still talking. And I love it. That's what the platform is for. Use it. Use it. We pay for it. Use it. Make sure you are using it, because that's what it's there for, to network and to build community. So yes, go ahead and talk. But if you have questions and you want something particular, specific that you want to ask, you are welcome to send it to us and we can send it to Dr. TT, or Dr. Zar, because he was very open about, hey, contact me. And he was for real. Like, I got a little nervous. He was like, yeah, let me know if y'all got questions, or, if you want to talk about something. So these speakers that we get, they are usually very open and transparent, and they want to help. So make sure if you came to the summit that you go to the session and put the questions down in the chat, and the speakers will get to it, or one of our team will go through it and see what the questions are and send them over to them. But yeah, the community board is still open. The community chats are still open. So make sure that you guys are still utilizing that and talking to each other. Now, another session that was really good was Dr. Shannon Phillips about stroke. So like, we got all the education. I mean, and Shamanica, I know that you've worked with Dr. Shannon or about the narrative, with stroke narrative that we're doing right now. Can you talk a little bit about, that session, about the stroke session?
Yeah, so I hate that my camera wasn't working during that session, but it was a lot of great information shared. I realized a lot of parents were aware of the TCD, the transcranial Doppler, and that their children should be getting that done annually to assess the risk of stroke. And adults were asking, well, why don't they do that for adults? And it's because our skull is too thick for a transcranial Doppler to work. I was the intended moderator for that session because when I was 3 years old, I had an invert stroke, and which was very scary for my family and everything. And then when I was 30 years old, I had a silent stroke, which is a TIA, and both are not fun. And now I'm a little paranoid. Whenever I have like a really bad headache or anything that just don't feel right, I go to the ER, because once you've had a stroke in the past, you're at risk for them again. So if you are a parent with kids that have had a stroke, they also talked about the penicillin prophylactic and taking penicillin every day, and how decreasing the risk of infection can also lead to decreasing strokes. And I remember as a kid, I fought my mom every day taking that penicillin. I hated it. I don't know. I don't know why I fought her on it, but I definitely fought her on it. And so, they'll come in. I was reading it. So here's a quote. Though there are some children who are high risk, the risk of stroke never fully disappears in SCD. So you can make it through childhood without having one, but you can have one later in life, or not. If you don't have an invert stroke, you can have the silent stroke and the trans ischemic attacks. I know how to say that now, Sharonda, because of the Narratives Project.
Yeah.
And that was something we did. For that one, we partnered with IS Napa, and we interviewed different patients on different complications that we as sickle cell warriors live with. And I recorded a video on trans ischemic attacks, and sickle cell warriors are at risk for those. And That's why I said if you are a warrior and you get a really, really bad headache, anything, your vision goes black, you get numbness or weakness on any side, any stroke-like symptom with sickle cell, children or adult. If you have any stroke-like symptom, you need to just go to the ER. Don't risk it because, as they say, seconds matter when it comes to a stroke, and that could be the difference between life and death. That could be the difference between permanent disability, no disability. So y'all don't want to waste time or say, oh no, I can push through it, when it's something that could be potentially happening in the brain. Yeah. So I know as warriors we like to push through, but if you're having them weird symptoms, bad headache, bad blurry vision, weakness, all of that stuff, just go to the ER. And they get happy when I do that. Sometimes I feel like afterwards, oh man, I just wasted all of this time, but I didn't. They instantly, you don't wait long. When you say you're having those symptoms, they get you in. For me, they do the necessary scans. I believe it's a CT or MRI. I get confused on the two, but you get all of that done right there in the ER because they have to act quick with that. So.
And what I loved about this session is that she was talking directly to the caregivers to know the signs of it. Because a lot of times, like Monica just said, with warriors, what we do is we sit and it's like, let me take let me determine whether I really got to go to the ER or not. And so with caregivers, we kind of have to, you have to know exactly what it looks like, because it's going to look different in a lot of different people. So it's not the same in everybody, but there are some similarities when it comes to stroke. And so, especially when you're talking about kids, sometimes they're, very sluggish, or they're not, they don't already, their speech is already slurred just because of, them growing and really getting a hang of, how they talk. So it's a little bit different for everybody. But if you know your child, or your warrior, then you also know the symptoms and, some of the symptoms for a stroke, then you always have that you're kind of armed with you're armed with the knowledge of how to pay attention or how to talk to the doctors when you do go there. Hey, this is what's happening. This, it may not look like it, but I know my child type situation. So
when I had my stroke at the age of 3, and I shared this during the summit, I was actually preparing for discharge at the hospital. And my mom said that I just didn't look right. And like she was getting me dressed, and I just wasn't participating with her the way I normally would. And she said the nurse she initially told, hey, something's wrong with my baby. The nurse told her, oh no, mom, she's just being a little loopy from all of the medicine. And that pissed my mom off. If y'all know my mom, y'all know she's a little firecracker. So she had to go shake some tables, and the doctor came in, and the doctor diagnosed me with the stroke just by looking at me, and had my mom just listened to that nurse and took me home, we don't know what would have happened, So parents, especially when your kids are little, I was 3, so you truly have to be their voice and speak up for them, because sometimes you can get a nurse who doesn't really care or is dismissive. And no, you got to stick to those guns, because again, seconds matter. And I'm glad I was in the hospital when it happened, and they were able to do everything really quickly. And I think that's why I had such a good recovery.
Yeah. So again, that's why this Caregiver Summit is so important, because it's not just talking about the warriors, it's talking to you caregivers who are the ones that are responsible for these children. And so now you are armed with the knowledge of how to recognize your child having a stroke. Now, since we're talking about children, let's talk about the fact that every event that we do, we make sure that we include our kids, okay? Because they are the next generation for real, and we have to train them up. And so what I love about this Caregiver Summit was that we had a few things for the kids. Now, y'all, I was over in another session, and my nephew sent me a message and was like, it's a horse in here. I was like, dang it, I want to go in there. So Kiara, I know you were popping in and out of things because you were like really trying to do the recap, but talk to us a little bit about the kid session, the workshops that they had.
Yes, the workshops for the kids, I really, really enjoyed. I was a kid myself. I was in there smiling ear to ear. I felt like a peed again because one of the sessions was about using music to cope with your pain and other things, which was by Miss Monette Ledbetter. And she was singing, doing instruments, and it was just so joyous to see the kids like actually getting on camera, getting off of mute. I keep saying kids, next generation.
Generation, girl.
Right, next generation. They were really participating. And I just really appreciate that because this is a skill and a tool that will take them on to adulthood and even help them in their now to have other ways on how to cope with pain or how to cope with any other life challenges using music.
Yeah.
And then they had another session with the horse, and I want to say Abriana.
Yes.
What's her name?
Yeah.
And the horse was like all over her, and it was a pony at that. So it was just, I was all the feels. It was just so good. Like and then she read them a book, and she paused throughout the book just to get the interaction from the next generation. And I'm just so proud of them because they were tapped in and they were listening. When we do summits, we want the next generation to know that they aren't left out. Like we have things specifically for them that we want them to enjoy. So if y'all have next generations, we want to hear their ideas. We want to hear what they enjoy. Like, so we can continue to get that participation from everything that we do here at the consortium, because kids and next generation are not excluded.
Exactly. Oh, thank you for that, Kiara, because we will be having a session for them at the end of, well, not the end, in the middle of December as well. And we'll talk about that at a different live. But she's right. Anything that we do, we are including our next generation because they are so important. We do want to hear their voice on everything because they got something to say. And sometimes we think that they don't, but they really, really do. They really do. And I enjoy listening to them. Now, Kiara, the other session, I know you were talking about the kids, but let's talk about the fact that, oh my God, Golden Warriors. We brought back the Golden Warriors. Yes, we did. And it started back when we were at the Warriors convention. And so we decided to carry it on to the Caregiver Summit. And I think this is going to be something that we're going to do, period. But talk a little bit about Golden Warriors.
Yes, it was the Wise Golden Warriors session. And if you don't know what our Golden Warriors is, it's the 55 and up Warriors. It's our seasoned warriors that we look up to immensely. But that session was so awesome. It was Miss Etta Carter, KW Young, and Wanda Williams. And it was a really intimate session to where we, the warriors, got to ask them specific questions on how they live well with sickle cell, how they got to the point of where they are and what things helped them along their journey. And it was just like sitting of the feet of wisdom. Like, tell me your ways, show me what I need to do. So that I think so many of us warriors desire the longevity. So many of our caregivers desire for their warrior to have longevity. And so it was just good to hear tips and listen to their stories and their journeys on how they, were sickle cell warriors and back when they didn't have the things that we have, and they didn't have the summits, and they didn't have the education, and they just had to figure it out. And so that was such a good session. And I'm glad that we're going to be consistent on hearing from the Wise Golden Warriors every summit, because we started that at convention, and it was just beautiful. You get to know them on a whole nother level, and you just really cherish them. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah, I see somebody put in the chat, Auntie Wanda was very relatable. I love it. And you know what I've noticed, and Shamanica actually got some little tips that she's going to share about that session. But what I love about our Golden Warriors is that they were more excited that we were celebrating them than us actually. So I'm like, y'all are crack about this. And I think it's because, like you said, Kiara, back in the day, they didn't have all of this. And so now that they do, and they see a generation of us that are like speaking up and, bringing in the noise, and we like, listen, we here, we building tables, we throwing tables, like we doing all the things to make sure that we're heard, right now. And so I'm really proud that, Dr. Bailey was like, I want to celebrate the Golden Warriors. And we've been doing it. And I think that's going to be a staple in the things that we do, because celebrating you guys is not just celebrating you, it's giving us hope. It's giving us, it's letting us know that, hey, you can make this too. So whatever they said to you back in the day, or whatever they said to your parents, don't even worry about it, because whatever, I'm so churchy, but whatever God has for you is gonna be okay. Let that be said. But anyway, so Shamanica, I know that you had some little nuggets that you got from there, and we're gonna be a little quick for this part, but because it was a lot of nuggets she had, but I just want y'all to hear a little bit about what they said during that session.
So I think what's most important to share is, so each one of them were 60 or older. So that's beautiful as in itself. KW said, he opened by saying I'm only 6 decades old, and I intend on living for at least 3 more decades. So that's how he started everything. And and he credited his parents for starting him on a very healthy diet early childhood. And he says keeping that diet has kept him alive and healthy. And now he's just excited to speak up about sickle cell and help others in Trinidad and Tobago, where he's from, and the Caribbean, because he said he spent 50 years not speaking up about it. So we love having KW. He's very active. And as someone said, Auntie Wanda was very relatable. Aunt Wanda is 74 years old. What? And she has, 74. We don't crack. We sickle cell, we have the fountain of youth. None of us really look our age. But she has sickle cell, and she wasn't diagnosed till she was 19. And she said leading up to that, her grandmother cared for her, because her grandmother knew something was wrong, even though they didn't have a diagnosis. So she was very close to her grandmother. And she said she actually had serious denial about the illness until 25. She got really sick, and she realized, I have this illness, I have to take care of myself. So after that realization, she worked for 35 years in education and administration. She's married, she has a big, beautiful family, and she shared that warriors can work, can go to college, get degrees, and do whatever. So that was my key takeaway from Wanda. And our lovely Miss Etta, Miss Etta is the consortium's MVP. She shows up to every single thing.
Wait, hold on.
And Miss Etta is 69.
What?
Y'all get into these ages. She has 2 young adult children. She was diagnosed at birth. And her parents was told she wouldn't live through the night. And then they said she wouldn't live till 19. But she's still here. That's like she said, she's still here. And she also credits a healthy diet and active lifestyle is what keeps her going as well.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about. Give it up for the Golden Wise Warriors. Yes. Oh my goodness. I love them. Wow. Oh my goodness. So I was about to bring up our MVP, but she dropped off. That's all right. Okay. So thank you so much, Monica, for sharing those tips and those nuggets from them, because I think it was super important for us to shout them out and say thank you, number one, for saying yes to being transparent and open and allowing people to come and say or ask questions to you guys. So that was really cool. Thank you to the team, the planning committee, who said this is something we want to do as well, because that's important. Now I'm saying that because y'all gonna get a survey. So those of you that just came in, y'all go get a survey, and what we need y'all to do is fill out the survey, and let us know what kind of sessions you want again, and let us know, what you want to see us do. It's everything we do is a work in progress. So we want your input, because everything we do is done for us, by us. That's the thing. All right. So we are going to get into one of the last things that we did at the summit. Oh, before that, there was one more doctor I wanted to shout out, and that is Dr. Akshay Sharma. Oh my goodness. That doctor there, he always says yes. If he can, he's going to say yes. And he likes to break things down so simple. So thank you to Dr. Akshay Sharma for coming in and speaking to us. He was doing the Ask the Doctor session. And Elle, I'm going to throw that to you just for a second, just because this was a session that we wanted to make sure that people got a chance to ask questions to an actual doctor, who was, who's very, he takes things and he simplifies it for you so that you can that anybody can basically understand it. So can you talk to us a little bit about why you had that session?
Absolutely. So over the course of several weeks, we've been hearing more about gene therapy. And we knew that it was a topic that our community, we hear about it, but do we really understand it? What are some of the things that you may be fuzzy about? And we wanted to give them a space where they could talk about what we call curative therapies in a way that they could really get to the root of understanding what curative therapies, what is entailed in curative therapies. And so we were able to use Whova and get those questions beforehand, put those questions into a presentation. And Dr. Sharma, he answered as many as he could live, and it was fantastic. I know for me as a parent, there were some things I was concerned about because, we just had that FDA session where, there was a hearing, they're talking about it. So it is really what is the big news right now in the sickle cell community. But we have to make sure that even our scientists, we have community of scientists, but we also have lay people. We have caregivers who, they don't all have little kids. We talk a lot about little children, but our caregivers, their children are their spouse, are their friend, are their, it could be their cousin. We also had some adoptive parents. So whatever, that caregiver role is that they wanted to really self-identify as, they were able to put their questions in and he answered them. And I think that that is valuable because often when we go to the doctor's offices, we don't really have enough time to get to the root of understanding of, doctor, what is this really all about? Is this something I should look more into? Is this something that has favorable results? What does it entail? And so all of those questions really laid out that our community has a level of understanding and they want to know and understand more. So I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, he's always so good. He did a lot of our gene therapy sessions for Warrior University. So I was expecting him to really come in and be scientific, but I like the platform, the format that we had. This one, there was a lot of questions asked. And he just came in to answer the question. So I really, really enjoyed that. One thing I want to do before we end to the ceremony is I want to shout out real quick to the executive director of the Sickle Cell Consortium. That is Dr. Lakia Bailey. She is, oh my goodness. Let me get there we go. There we go. Hey, Dr. Bailey.
Hi there.
How are
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am, we can.
My internet is so bad. Can you hear me? Okay, great. Well, hello, everyone. Hey, y'all. How are y'all doing? Shamanica, I see you down there. Elle, Kiera, Sharonda. Hey, y'all. How are you?
We are great. We're so glad that you had a chance to jump on and hop on. I know you are busy doing your work over there, and we just wanted to appreciate you, first of all, for saying yes to a caregiver summit, for saying yes to making sure that an event like this is not just an event, but a successful event that's touching the hearts and minds of people and being very impactful. Now, we talked a little bit about Mama Doris. Like, listen, she's not just your mama. You done gave her to the entire community. And we talked about, just her opening remarks and her opening statement, but we also want to give you your flowers and thank you so much for being the force within this entire event and the force with this entire organization. So thank you so much for doing that and being who you are. We give you your flowers and your hand clap too.
Having fun with that sound machine, Sharonda.
You know how you judge me now. There's going to be more. There's more.
Hey, everybody. I see a lot of you saying hey in the chat. Hey, everyone. I am thrilled and honored to be able to be in a position to be able to say, absolutely, let's do it when people come to us with great ideas. That's a gift. That's a gift from God and this community that allows us to be in this position to put together these summits, to do all of the projects that we do. The resources, the support that we get from you all, from industry, from government, it's just amazing. And I see it as the gift that it is. I don't take any of that responsibility or that blessing lightly. So thank you all so much. And I'm a caregiver to this entire community, Carla. You know what? That might be true because I certainly try to be. This past week, I've had the opportunity to be a direct bedside caregiver to the phenomenal Mama Doris, who is better, and she's home. For those of you that knew she was sick, we are home.
I need my claps. Yeah. Like, they should have never gave me a machine. Yes. Glad she's home. Yay. Tell her we love her and we are putting our arms around her, and she is such an inspiration to so many. So believe me, there were a lot of prayers going up.
She felt them, and I'm so grateful to all of you, and just for that as well, that I could take that time for a solid week to be bedside with my mother. And you all continued everything else and kept everything going. Thank you all. I will say to all of you out there to be patient with us, because as we are winding down and wrapping up the Caregiver Summit, there are certain aspects of it that Mom and I take care of directly. And that might be a teeny bit delayed because we're dealing with some health issues over here that are improving. So please show us grace and patience as we wind down and wrap up everything Caregiver Summit related.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Bailey. I know that you have a lot on your plate right now, but I just wanted you to come in and say hi to everyone, because we do appreciate you. We appreciate Mama Doris. We appreciate the entire Sickle Cell Consortium for just giving space and opportunity for something like this. So thank you for joining us. We are going to go into our last wrap up, y'all. This has been a great conversation. We are so thankful that Dr. Bailey can be a part and be ending this session with us, because it was just really a wrap up and a conversation. We wanted to talk a little bit about the Caregiver Summit because it was so good. It really, really was so good. And we told y'all that we was going to give out the last prizes here. And I know some of y'all waiting to see who got the prize. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. So one of the prizes for the eye care for SCD goes to, is putting in it right now, Sharika Collins. Sharika Collins. She is the winner of the eye care for SCD hashtag contest. Thank you so much. And we will get that information and get that prize over to you. Thank you for participating and being a part of the community and being a part of the event. We appreciate you. And now for the ceremony, y'all. The tears, all the things, the caregiver ceremony that we had is always so good. And I want Shamanica to talk a little bit about some of the notes that she got from the nuggets that she got from the ceremony. But before we do, Elko, girl, talk to us about this ceremony. Like, why was it important to have this ceremony?
So every year we have an award ceremony because caregivers usually go without any sort of thanks are being acknowledged. And we know that they would do it without acknowledgement, but we wanted to say, look, we see the hard work and the love that you are showing your warrior, and we want to commend you publicly. And so that's why we do it. We do it because we want to love on caregivers. And caregivers often just don't love on themselves. And so if they're not doing it for themselves, we have to take up that mantle and do it for them. And so that's what we do in the Caregivers Award ceremony.
And I appreciate it. I had fun. Me and my sister, we were the ones that were able to give the awards. Y'all know we goofy. we love it. We was, girl, first of all, we was upset because we had a little whole dance routine and everything to it. But girl, why is my Siri talking to me? But we had a little dance routine. We was practicing our TikTok. She was so excited and we had a great time. So thank you so much for allowing us to be the award host, because we had a great time doing it. But I wanted to shout out the award winners. We're gonna let y'all know who they were. Shamanika, go ahead.
Do you want me to tell who they were?
Wait, hold on. Shamanika, give us our nuggets real quick that you had from before the awards came up.
Okay. Well, of course, we heard from our amazing sponsor, Vertex, Tasha, our girl Tasha Lee, represented Vertex. And, she just wanted the people there in attendance to know that Vertex is there to encourage caregivers as well, and that they were proud to support this event, and that she hopes that caregivers were able to refill their cup by attending the Caregiver Summit. And she also welcomed attendees to check out and contribute to Walking with Warriors. That is something Vertex, it's an initiative Vertex has going on. But we love Tasha, and we're so grateful for her presence at the summit and for Vertex being our title sponsor. So
we titled it.
Yeah, shout out to them for that. And after we heard from Tasha, we heard from the beautiful Brenda Green. She was the MC of the ceremony. And for those who are not aware of who Brenda Green is, she is the director of the Be Strong group. And she made sure to say that she is a proud partner of the Sickle Cell Consortium and the chair of the CBO Capacity Building Committee. She started advocacy and got into advocacy because of her son Braden, and they focus mostly on blood drives. Y'all, Brenda know how to get some blood out of people, so she does. We all know how hard it is doing a blood drive, and she be getting them. So we love Brenda for that, and we pray that the Be Strong group continues to thrive, as well as her son Braden and her family as a whole. And after Brenda, we heard from Dr. Vince Bonham. He's a sickle cell warrior, and I love how he shouted out his caregivers, which are his parents, and he said that they took such great care of him growing up, and they are the reason he is the amazing doctor and all the things he is today. And now today, his wife of 34 years, I believe that's how long he said they're married.
My God.
Don't be mad at me if I'm wrong, Dr. Bonham. But now his wife is his main caregiver, who he credits, and he left us with 4 points for caregivers. So the first one is, you're all your warriors need. So he encouraged you to learn and know your warrior, because no matter their age, they need you. Number two, he says, speak up, ask questions, and seek advice. So if you don't know something, you don't feel comfortable, say it, ask. Number three, those are my children, y'all. I'm sorry. But number three, he said, make the most of every day. And I think that's a really important one, because we can fall into focusing on the negative of this illness, and you can take for granted the good that is there. And lastly, he shared that the future is bright. We have so much happening in research for sickle cell, new therapies, as Elle mentioned, gene therapy, and the possibility of having a cure available is all on the horizon. So he shared those 4 nuggets. And I'm not sure if it was him or somebody else, but I know during the ceremony, it was shared that caregivers are the Energizer Bunny of the warrior's life, because they keep going and going and going. So those were the brief nuggets I was able to get from the opening, people from the opening before you and Lanita took us to the Emmys. So yeah.
And that was so awesome. And I'm so glad we had that moment with Dr. Vince, because he's so powerful in this community. And of course, Miss Brenda Green. Yeah, girl, I am over here cracking up, talking about she know how to get blood out of people. She does. Her blood drops are epic. So that is so awesome. And so here's what I also love, y'all, is that we utilize the planning committee, the warriors, the partners, and everything that we do. So if you ever, thought, oh my God, how can I be a part? Girl, partner with the consortium, we're going to put you to work. Please understand, if you're going to come, you're going to get put to work. That is a thing. But I just love that we are able to do that. So now we're going to go to the enemies just a little bit real quick so that we can announce officially who the awardees were for. Come on, Joy, for the award ceremony this go round. Let's go. Y'all knew I was going to push my button. Y'all knew it. And congratulations to all the awardees of the 3rd Annual Caregiver Summit. So those of you that won, please know that you're going to get something in the mail. Like Dr. Bailey said, give us a little bit of grace. The holidays came right after. Whew, my goodness. So you're going to get it. But thank you so much for being a part of this Caregiver Summit. Now, Miss L, we got our awardees next year. We're going to do something different. Be on the lookout of how we're going to do our award nominees and our nominations. All of that will be on the Warrior Network. Even the reveal of the awardees will be on there. But congratulations to everyone that came and that was a part of the Caregiver Summit. And of course, the awardees. Yay! Now, Elle, do you want to say anything? Because we're about to wrap this thing on up because we got to go have dinner and things.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to everybody who helped out. So we had the Sickle Cell Community Consortium, of course, but we also had 610 Designs. We had other contractors and the planning committee. So if you want to be on the planning committee, I put the link in the comments. You can type that into your URL and you can let us know that you want to be a part of it. So this is something where you don't just have to say, oh, I wish you would have this. I wish it was like this. No, you can actually be a part of making that happen. So we invite you to join us. And I just wanted to just send a heartfelt, a few words of gratitude to all of you. It's a lot of work, but all of you are so dedicated to making sure that everyone in our community has their needs met. And so I just wanted to say thank you for helping us. So this is something that we couldn't do without you, and you all always make us feel very welcomed, and you put in a lot of time and energy. So I have the best planning committee ever because they want to make sure that this happens for other caregivers. So join us.
Yay. Yes, don't forget to join, y'all. Don't act like that now. If you want to be a part of this planning committee, you are absolutely welcome. And we prefer that it is caregivers on this planning committee because we want to make sure that you guys have a safe space and you get what you want. Well, something we did not mention is that during the summit, we always have closed caregiver sessions. Why? Are we trying to lock people out? No. But what we are trying to do is give a special space for caregivers to speak, to unite, to come together, to connect, and really relate to one another. And so I want to say hats off to the planning committee and to Elle for making sure that the caregivers do have that space at every one of the caregiver summits. So
I want to speak to that just really quickly because I know that sometimes that comes as a surprise to people.
Yeah.
But even that first year, we had many sessions that were closed. We understood that we wanted to open it up a little bit more. So we have roundtables where we make them we have some that are closed and some that are open. And we do that because the caregivers let us know that it was very important for them to have a safe space to be open, to talk about their experiences without judgment. And so, yeah, it doesn't feel good to be in a space where it's like, oh, I can't go in that room. But because this is such a unique and intentional space, we make sure that we do that. So that will continue. Don't be offended, because it is just a sign that you love, trust, and respect your caregivers. So give them that time to be open and honest. This is a part of us making a safe space in our community for us to share what's on our heart.
Oh, thank you, Elle. I'm glad you gave that explanation, because there were people like, I can't see, I can't get in. I heard that there's a different session. Well, yeah. We have some, we do have some special sessions just for caregivers. Now, I will say, next year, we are having our convention, our leadership summit, and the caregiver summit again next year. So make sure that you are a part of our newsletter. You're on Hoover app getting the information, because we will let you know all about next year's event. And thank you guys so much for really inviting people and being a part of the Caregiver Summit. Now, I do have 3 more prizes I forgot I got to give out. For the I am attending prize, it is to Jacorian Flowers and Viola Stewart. Those are the 2 that won that one. And for tonight, we have Miss Kimberly Davis, who won the Caregivers Rock Award. So thank you, Kimberly. And we are going to give one more. Let me go on and press this button real quick. Y'all been back here giving out prizes on the back end. And it's going. The person that wins this is come on. Jamie Roque. So, Jamie Roque, you are also a winner for tonight for being a part of this live. So those are all of our winners. We will post them in Hoover so that everyone will know who they are. And you will get a link that will show you how to claim your prize. So thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much to everyone that joined us on this live. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Elle. Thank you, Kiara. And thank you, Shamanica. And a big shout out to Dr. Lakia Bailey for showing up at our live. We just want to thank everyone, the planning committee, everybody gets the thanks. You get a thanks, everybody get a thanks. Thank you all for all that you do for this community. And I cannot wait to see you at our next event. Oh, wait. Tomorrow is a town hall with Fulcrum where we're talking about an investigational medicine. Okay, so we're going to talk about it tomorrow. So if you want to be a part of that, look on our page. I don't know if one of my team members can put it in the chat, but you can sign up to be a part of that session on tomorrow. It is here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live will be there. But if you are a partner, I'm just going to tell y'all on this live that if you are a partner, that is a part of your active. So if you are in need of some points going to the town hall, I'm just giving y'all what I know. You may want to do that. So yeah, town hall is tomorrow. It is live, but you still have to register in order for it to be counted. Partners, okay? I sent y'all an email. Please read your email. And then we have a partner meeting on Friday. Yes, the last partner meeting. So I will see y'all, all of my wonderful, proud, amazing partners on Friday. But this is all about the caregivers. We are done for the night. Can we invite others? Brenda, let me put your question up there. Drum roll, please. Dang, that's what I need to get on my little sound machine. Drum roll. And the answer is yes. Invite everybody to this town hall because we want to have a conversation. You ain't got to be a partner. You ain't got to, know nothing. You can send it to your neighbor. I don't care. Everybody if you want to know anything about sickle cell and this investigational medicine that they're talking about, because, we ask the hard questions over here in these streets. So come on tomorrow and we are going to be on live, but partners and everybody else, please register because we need to make sure that we add y'all to the list. Okay. So that's a thing. So I will, is that the right link? Sham? It should have been one that was a tiny URL.
Oh, I got this from the post on our page. I was moving fast.
You was moving
Is that
fast.
not the right
Okay.
one?
No, it might be. It might be. Okay, y'all. So she posted it in the chat, but I will post it on the information on the Facebook, so you'll be able to pull that up as well. I think that is right, Shem. But I'm just gonna put what I got right here though. Here it is, right there. So yeah, and I sent it to everybody in your email, in our big email, so everybody should have received it. So invite everybody. That's all I'm trying to say. And thank y'all again, and have a great night. And we're going to play one of the videos on our way out. But again, thank you. And here go my clap. They should have gave me a machine, baby. It's about to be on.